Today I'm going to show you how to animate on Procreate. So first you open up Procreate and open up a new document by hitting the plus button and go to the setting button and then click the animation assistant, and on the layers you create another layer for the background drawing. But at first, as I was drawing this background, I couldn't really figure out how to make the background stay as a separate layer throughout the entire length of animation. But I eventually found out at the end of this process, which I'll be sharing towards the end of this video. And so here first, I just clicked on that add frame on the bottom, the animation assistant timeline, and then drew a new frame or new pose. And then I would click on that add frame again. But before I click on setting, and I just want to let you know that you can create frames per sec, change the frames per second, put the onion skin on, control the opacity of the onion skin, and so you can see the previous drawings. And so at this point I keep adding add frame and drawing a new frame, just like how you would draw on any other application or even on paper frame by frame, same exact method. And so I keep adding frame as I keep hitting add frame. And so here you're gonna see me repeating the same process as I draw a new pose on every frame of clicking on add frame on the bottom on the timeline. So basically what I'm animating is this half-filled flower sack, anticipating or looking down first, and he's ready to jump, anticipating and squashing and stretching and easing in on the top of line of action and drop down or fall down. Then as you can see, with the frame rate of 10 frames per second, meaning shooting each drawing in threes, you can see that it's moving the way it was moving. But now I'm going to change the frame per second rate to 24, just like our usual lunchbox or the iStop motion setting in the art building. So at this point, after you establish the frame rate at the correct frame rate, what you need to do is you need to hold the duration of each drawing. It's pretty cool. It's like copying and pasting or duplicating the same drawing without having to redraw to fill in the number of frames shot per drawing. And so if I add 2 frames, then it'll be shot in threes because you're adding 2 additional frames, 4 frames, then adding 4 additional frames. And you could even go back and click it and delete the frame as you wish, as you can see. And so I keep adding more number of frames onto each one of these drawings because not every pose is supposed to be held the same amount of frames. As you all are aware, we are looking for the timing variation. Some parts will be held longer than the others and vice versa. And so here on this frame again, holding it for 13 additional frames, so it's almost half a second, actually over half a second. Because this is part where the sack is supposed to be looking down to see to get ready to jump. And so I keep duplicating and adding more frames onto each one of these drawings. But as you can see, for the most part, I'm adding about maybe about 1 to 2 drawings each for the most part, except for the necessary holds. Meaning I'm aiming for shooting each frame in threes or twos in average. And so here the pose is stretching out, so I am adding only one additional frame, meaning shooting in twos, and then I'm trying to ease in on the top of the line of action right here. So that's why there are so many drawings that are put together close to each other, favoring each other's frames, so they can slow down a little bit right before dropping, so it feels faster when it drops with a long stretch drawing, which is this. And it comes down, and each one of these is just shot in once, or one frame being held per each drawing for the last three drawings of dropping down. So as you can see, unlike the one that I shot earlier, all in threes, you can see time variation. Then what you do is you go back to the gallery, and you can from untitled project to, you can name it to any specific name you want it to name it to. And in this case I named it Project 5, my name, because this half-filled flower sack drop project is gonna be your Project 5 for R44 animation, R44A beginning animation principle students. And so the whole idea here is to show the weight, a little bit of acting, but more has to more to do with the weight and the line of action, and ease in and ease out. And then once that process is done, basically what I'm doing here is, remember that first frame on the bottom, layer 1, which was the drawing of this cliff, or this rock mountain-ish drawing on the background. I rename it as background drawing. And basically what you can do here is you click on the drawing on the timeline, and you can add and more stuff as you want, and you can mark it as a background. You can mark it as a background layer. When you click it, it allows you to click it as a background layer. What it does is it lets you hold the background drawing throughout the entire length of animation. Then you go to share and export it as MP4, and all you gotta do is at this point just click on the export button. Then once the exporting is done, you just need to either save it onto your photo app or email it to yourself, or and so on.